to be live now. There might be a little bit of a lag, but yeah, welcome to today's video. We have Florian Minderop from MisterGreen. I've been following Florian for a long time. He's building a robotaxi fleet of 15,000 Teslas. He already is at 5,000 Teslas, and we will do a deep dive today live on all the platforms. So welcome all the people on X, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, different YouTube channels. It will be amazing. Hopefully all will work. And of course, say hi in the chat, say hi where you are from. And of course, ask questions. This is to be interactive. Ask questions. We will get to all of it. And yeah, we will get into MisterGreen. We will talk about his famous story when he met Elon Musk. And we will, of course, talk about all things Elon Musk, about all things Tesla. We will go as long as we like. We don't have a time limit. So maybe we will go for some hours, who knows? And at some point, we will just wrap it up and then maybe save some for the next round. So Florian, welcome to the channel.
Hi, Remo. Thank you very much. We finally meet. I've been following you for a long time, and I'm very happy that I'm here on this channel. And first time live for me, so I'm very excited to get some questions. And I'm also very happy to be able to show something about our company, MisterGreen. As I told you before, we would like to build in public more, to show people and to inspire people that what's happening, because we've been doing it for 16 years, but there are still a lot of how do you say it, not knowledge about what's happening at Tesla and what possibilities there are. So I'm happy to share all of that and all the insights that we have.
Amazing. So let's start off with this story that you have. Tell us the story of when you met Elon Musk and the bet you made with him.
Yeah, well, that's a nice story we have. We started with MisterGreen in 2008, and we started with a mission to accelerate the advent of electric transport and to end fossil fuels. And in 2013, after 5 years, we started with our leasing company for cars. And that's actually the first year that we thought, and we met Tesla. We learned about Tesla. So we are pretty late to the game as well. But at that moment, Tesla was also expanding to Europe. So we ordered, I think, one of the first Tesla Model S's in Europe. And we had this very nice fiscal policy in the Netherlands. So we were able to order like 50 Teslas somewhere in the Q4 of 2013. And that was the start of Tesla in the Netherlands as well. And they opened a shop in the city of Amsterdam. And later on, somewhere in 2016, they opened a factory in Tilburg, which is south in the Netherlands. And we were invited, and we learned that Elon Musk was going to open the factory. So we were very excited, and the country manager of the Netherlands actually asked us, would you be happy to meet Elon as well? And we were amazed that we had that opportunity. Because he was in Europe before, and we saw him speak, and we went to all these venues where he was speaking, but we never met him really one-on-one. So now we were able to meet him one-on-one with 2 or 3 other people, and we were asked to have a question about him and ask him a question. But on the way up to the factory, we thought, no, we're not going to ask him a question because he has had every question in the world already about Tesla. So why don't we make a bet? And well, we came to the factory and we learned that Elon was saying, I can't believe this. This factory is too small. What is this? I expected a factory which would be 10 times bigger. So he was a little bit grumpy, I heard. But then we went into that room after he did his speech, and we made a bet. We said, Elon, we're going to sell 250 cars this year. If we make that target, we're going to bring our team to the United States. And then we're going to drive from the Fremont factory to the Giga Nevada factory, which was still building out. And if we don't make the bet, then we will clean the Tesla logo on this factory. Are you in? And he started smiling and laughing. He said, I love this bet. I love this entrepreneurial spirit. Let's do it. So we eventually made our target. We went to the United States. We went to the Fremont factory. We did a tour. And then we went to the shop and we said, we made a bet with Elon last year. Where is the Tesla? And they were looking at us. Who are you guys? What are you doing here? And why should we have a Tesla for you guys? Yeah, we made a bet with Elon, etc. And then we stayed there for 1 more hour. We called with our country manager, and eventually we got a Tesla, of course. And we went to the Giga factory in Nevada. And at the Giga Nevada factory, the doors were closed. They said, no, you're not able to enter. So we went on to Lake Tahoe and we went skiing there. So it was fun.
Wow. Did you meet Elon Musk since then again?
No. Well, we met him at venues or at Tesla events, but never as close as we did back then.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, so if I understand correctly, let's talk about MisterGreen. If I understand correctly, you are a leasing company, or maybe better understood as a subscription company, so people can lease or subscribe to Teslas from your fleet. As if I understand correctly, you own these Teslas. So tell us a little bit about what is MisterGreen and what is the current evolution of the business model? How does it all work?
Yeah, so as we speak right now, we have almost 5,000 Teslas in our fleet, and they are all on our balance sheet. So you could see us as a rental company of Teslas. The normal rental duration is about 60 months. And at this moment, we are. Sorry, I got a message from you that the video is not good.
I don't know. Yeah, just we're building in public, so in the spirit of building in public, could you check the settings and make sure that you are streaming on a full high definition?
Yeah, I'm on full high definition, 1080.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we have the perfect, the best possible quality. Everything's good.
Okay, great. So yeah, we're based in the Netherlands right now, in Belgium and in Germany and in Denmark, and we're expanding into to whole of Europe, and we also want to go to the United States. Yeah, everything is fine. This is our technical guy asking if everything is okay. Everything is okay. We are a typical lease company, because a normal lease company, they just buy the car, they rent it out, and then they sell the car. But we are building a robotaxi fleet, so we want to keep the cars. So after 5 years, we get the car back and we just put it into what we call a redrive contract. So that's actually a very interesting value proposition for our clients, because we're able to offer an old Model 3 or a Model Y or Model S or Model X at a price which is about 100 to 200 euros cheaper. And the Model S, X, Y, or 3 is updated by software, so it feels like it's a new Tesla. So it's actually a very interesting value proposition. And at this moment, about 30% of our fleet consists of second-term redrive contracts. So I think that's going to be our future as well, that we're going to buy more cars which are older. And at this moment, we have about a 40% FSD uptake ratio. So 40% of our clients are actually driving FSD already in the Netherlands and in Germany and every country where we are. And that's FSD Alpha, of course. It's not the FSD Beta we know about in the US. We're really looking forward to that. But our aim is to build a fleet of Teslas with 100% uptake rate. And we actually believe that we have the same idea as Tesla. We want to bring the cars as affordable as possible. So we also have an affordability strategy. So we're also looking at the total cost of ownership. We want to drive that down. And we see that in our redrive contracts, the total cost of ownership is actually decreasing by 30%. So people are able to drive a Tesla at a 30% reduction of the cost, even with FSD. So what we're also doing for our clients is that we want to really get them hooked on FSD. So there's still a lot of uncertainty and doubt and a lot of fake news about FSD. But if you drive it, and if you drive it after 2 months, and we take FSD away from you, you're lost. You say, no, I want FSD back. Please give it back to me. So at this moment, we offer FSD for 45 euros a month, which is really cheap compared to what they offer it in the US for $200 a month. And that's a way for us to educate our clients, to educate that Tesla is more than a car. It's more about the software and about self-driving.
So, let's maybe zoom out a little bit and start from the beginning. So let's maybe walk through the whole customer journey. So sure. Why would a customer even consider leasing a car from you instead of buying their own Tesla? So what's the value proposition? How do you even get the customer into the door? What do you offer them?
Well, at first we are mission driven. So our mission is to end fossil fuel. That's number one. Number two, we are 100% focused on Tesla. So that's number two. And because we're focused and mission driven, and because our strategy is offering our clients the most affordable car, we can offer them value propositions which are very interesting to them. So we sometimes even have a client who comes to us to say, I'm not sure yet, I'm going to drive a Tesla or a BMW or a Volkswagen. And then we're able to tell our story. And then eventually they say, yeah, of course I'm going to take a Tesla. It's so much better, and it's so much better offer for the price that we are able to pay. So we are a little bit of an extension of Tesla. We are like a small speedboat around the big Tesla, and that's what we are. That's what we're offering to our clients. That's our value proposition. Next to Tesla, we also do everything online. So we don't have shops. We're not a dealer or something. So the whole customer journey from learning about our story to actually being able to buy a lease contract with us is fully online.
And how does a lease contract at MisterGreen differ from a normal lease that you would do like directly when purchasing a Tesla and going through some other company? What's the difference that you offer?
Well, the difference between MisterGreen and Tesla is Tesla only offers financial lease, and we offer a full operational lease. So we are like a subscription company. We keep the car, and with the Tesla offering, you are the owner of the car. So there's less hassle as well for the client. So that's the biggest difference.
And, okay, so the idea is basically somebody wants to use a Tesla but doesn't necessarily want to own a Tesla. Doesn't want to maintain or just have the hassle of owning things. So you offer a subscription model, and what does this subscription model contain? So do you do the service? Do you do basically insurance? Do you offer a full package, or what does the client still have to do when they go with a lease with you?
Well, the client doesn't have to do anything anymore. So we offer a full subscription, full offering of the services. So exactly as you mentioned, we finance the car, we insure the car, we maintain the car, we do the tires, we change the tires from winter to summer tires. We also offer a charging solution, and we also offer repair maintenance services when you're broken down somewhere on the highway, that we are able to offer you a replacement car. Next to that, we are thinking of offering additional services next to the traditional leasing part. So we are also expanding into offering solar panels or other energy-related products, but also evolving into a car sharing robot taxi offering. That's still not something that we can offer right now, but it's something that we are evolving into. And that's why we're also 100% in on Tesla, because they are building already, everything in their cars already built to become a robot taxi.
So, how long is a typical lease, and what are roughly the costs? So, let's say somebody wants to lease I don't know, a Model Y or a Model 3. Can you just give me a rough estimate? How much would that cost, the full package per month?
Yeah.
Right now, maybe in Germany or in the Netherlands, and how long would such a lease be?
Yeah, so at this moment, about 80% of our clients are choosing a Model Y, and we can offer a Model Y starting at 650 euros a month for 60 months for 20,000 kilometers. And now we're able to offer a redrive Model Y as well for like 500 euros a month for the same duration, even for a shorter duration. So we can offer the redrive also for 36 months.
Got it. And the
ballpark
20,000
figure.
and the 20,000 kilometers are per year, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah. So you offer a full package. So basically, somebody can just use a Tesla, pay 500 to 650 euros per month, and don't have any hassle with anything related to owning a car, and basically go full electric. That's an amazing value proposition.
Yeah. So with the introduction of redrive, we would like to get even better in the value proposition. So we already are able to lower our prices, but we also want to lower our duration. So maybe we will be able to offer like a 3-month period or even shorter. We're also setting up partnerships with car sharing companies. So we met Beast Rental 2 weeks ago. Amazing company, completely all in on Tesla as well. They're expanding into Europe as well with only Teslas, and you're able to just pick up a Tesla from us and just drive it and pay by hour. So we are just trying to get as many Teslas on the road as possible.
Absolutely great mission and great value proposition. Because personally, I'm just in the process. I almost bought a Model S in 2018, but I don't really want to own a car. So then I just didn't buy it. I invested in Tesla instead, or I was already invested. So this turned out well. But in a way, I still want to use a Tesla, and I still want to use a Tesla like an owner. And yesterday, in fact, I was test driving a used Model X here in Switzerland. And yeah, it's a hassle. I mean, I would have to deal with insurance, with all the stuff, with tires, with I don't know. I don't want to have the hassle. I just want to use the car. And so, are you offering these services in Switzerland already, or in what countries are you already active?
Well, we're active right now in Germany, Denmark, Belgium, and the Netherlands. But I already had a lot of discussions with the people on X that they are saying, why don't you bring MisterGreen to our country as well? We love your proposition. So let's just say that we're expanding into Europe very fast, and we are still looking for partners. to help us to have feet on the ground and have the local knowledge. We're even thinking of setting up a franchise concept. We also have a lot of cars available, so there's a lot of opportunity to work together. And I've actually met a very nice guy. His name is Florian in Austria, for example. And we're having talks about setting up something in Austria. Also somebody in Czechia. If somebody from Switzerland is in a crowd, just come to me and let's have a talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe I should connect you with someone, because I was the guy I'm considering buying the Tesla from. He's actually owning a third-party service center here in Switzerland. They are doing service and warranty extensions and all of these stuff, and they are also reselling Teslas. I think it's going quite well, and maybe that would be a good connection to do.
That's the perfect kind of partners. We have to align on the mission. We have to align on the all in being in Tesla. And if you're already in the business of doing something with Tesla, it's even better for us. We just started something in Portugal as well, and in Spain with two Dutch guys who moved there, and they wanted to set something up as well. So no, we're very entrepreneurial and flexible in those kind of solutions, and we're expanding. So please contact me. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur myself for 15 years. I'm just curious how your model really works. So allow me to ask some deeper questions. How does the financing work? Where do you get the money to buy all these Teslas? Because I assume you have to buy them, of course, yourself first to have the fleet, and then basically offer them as a subscription. So how do you finance it? What are the rough terms? Or how did you find your first financing partner, for example?
Yeah, sure. So we started in 2008, as I told you, and Mark Scheurs is my co-founder, and myself, and we are still 100% owner of the company. So we are bootstrapped, and we always like to be entrepreneurial about how we are going to finance things. And at this moment we have like a 200 million balance sheet with 200 million cars, which is financed about 85% by banks, and 15% is financed by either ourselves, by our earnings that we developed during the years, but also a big part is financed by our community. So we have like a community of more than 2,000 investors, and they are able to subscribe to our site and become an investor within our company. We have like 20 million euros, I believe, we collected from those investors. So it's about 10,000 an average per investor. And we're expanding. So our idea is to have like a bigger community of investors in order to build out our balance sheet. And at this moment, we only offer bonds. So we write out bonds for like 7% interest for 4 years. But we're also thinking of setting up a kind of a crowd equity offering, which could be very interesting in combination with FSD, and especially with robotaxi. So it could be like a combination of equity and a bond offering. So you have the safety of getting some interest, and you have the upside of FSD and robotaxi really coming into place and getting a kicker when that happens. Because there's, as Elon said, there's a big opportunity and a big appreciation of the car if that happens. I mean, it's going to be 5 times more useful and therefore also 5 times more valuable. And that's the basis of our whole idea, is that's why we keep cars, because we think the car is going to be actually more valuable during time. So normally the asset, the car, is depreciating and our financiers also want to depreciate our cars, and we do that. But we also know that with software, the cars are getting better, and they're actually going to increase in value. So that's the offering that we want to give to our community to help us grow our mission, help us grow our fleet, and people are able to enjoy the upside as well.
So basically, people that invest with you, the 2,000 investors, private people, they can give you, for example, 10,000 euros, and then they can earn something like 7% per year in interest for 4 years. And after 4 years, they will get the initial money back. Is that roughly correct?
Yeah, that's the offering that we're offering right now. That's the only offering we do, but we're actually making some progress in setting up new offerings as well, which I just explained. But this
Absolutely.
is the basic offering that we're offering right now, and people are able to just subscribe to us, and then the whole process is also online, and they can join our mission.
Yeah, so let's talk about, you mentioned depreciation. I'm really interested in that. So from your experience, if you buy a new Tesla, for example, if I would now buy a new Model X, a basic version with FSD, etc., costs roughly 104,000 Swiss francs, so roughly 104,000 euros. I'm assuming francs and euros are one-to-one. So how much would such a car depreciate, for example, per year if I would want to sell it after 3 years, 4 years? What could I expect on the second-hand market based on your experience?
Well, it depends. We have like a residual value table within our company. That's our core business. But there are a lot of assumptions which make that depreciation level variable. So at first, it's of course the entry price. So if you're able to buy a Model S for 100,000, it's different than if you buy it for 80,000. But roughly, the depreciation is better than an ICE car. So an ICE car roughly depreciates in 60 months to like between 35 and 40%.
Mm-hmm.
And we have experienced that the residual value is above that.
Mm.
But there's also differences between 2013 cars, 2018 cars. There's a difference between a Model S and a Model 3, a Model Y. But that's the beauty of our business model, is that we don't depend that much on the residual value, because we keep the cars. We don't want to sell them. And the market is not really appreciating the real value of the car yet. What also is happening is that in some countries there are fiscal policies. So the fiscal policy is really having a big effect on the residual value as well. So that's why we're expanding into Europe as well, to make use of that difference. So that's about it. Yeah, maybe you have another question about it.
How does it impact? So if Tesla lowers the prices aggressively, for example, I think last week Model S and Model X, I think roughly 14% price, lowered the price by 14-15%, basically overnight. So and maybe you don't have much Model S and X in your fleets, but what would happen if like the Model Y or the Model Y, if you say that's your best selling car, what would happen if the prices would just go down? Do you then have to impair your balance sheet? Does it have any impact on your balance sheet? And how do you deal with these price fluctuations?
Well, at first, we already knew that Tesla would lower their prices when we started. As ARK Invest told us, everybody in the Tesla community, with Wright law and Moore's law, for every doubling in production, the price will go down by 20%. So we knew beforehand that prices would go down. So that's one. And we also think that prices will keep going down. I mean, the Model 2 is coming for 25,000 euros. It's a lot cheaper than the current Model 3 of 40,000 euros. But there's also differences in categories. So that's one. About the impairment question you said, the only reason to impair our cars is when we don't have a contract on the cars. So as long as we have a contract on the car, there's nothing going on. When the cars are standing still, then we have something to explain. That's actually the risk.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if we zoom out to your vision, I mean, now we talked about all the details, but the vision basically, and that's a huge bet, right? So your vision is you want to build a fleet, own a fleet of 15,000 Teslas, and then you basically make the bet that one day this fleet will awaken with software and become a robo-taxi fleet overnight. And if this turns out to be true, then of course your cars have a much more value because cars with FSD, with the robo-taxi, have a much higher utility, maybe 3x, maybe 5x, but certainly more than currently cars. So that's a huge bet. How confident are you that this bet will turn out well?
Well, every day I wake up, I get more confident, especially the last weeks. I mean, it's been amazing to see what's happening. What was it, 3 weeks ago with the V12, the live stream of Elon? I mean, it's amazing what's happening there, that you only need video to really drive a car by itself. You don't need any heuristics anymore. You don't need code. It's, I mean, with the advent of AI and AI getting better, the risk is going down. Second to that, Elon already told us in 2019 during the first AI day what his idea was about building the cars. And he said, every car we're building right now is already ready, hardware ready. So that gave us a lot of confidence as well. I must say, before 2019, we had our doubts of buying FSD as a software contract. We thought it was pretty expensive. At that time, it was only 3,000 euros. It's 7,000 right now. So it's always a perception. At this moment, we think 7,000 euros is a cheap buy, especially if you think of that FSD is getting regulated in Europe. Hopefully, in 2 weeks, we will get some more news about regulation. It looks very promising, and it could be that somewhere in Q1 2024, we will have regulation in place. So that makes us more confident as well. Well, and this week with the book of Elon coming out and showing us pictures of the robotaxi itself, the Cybertruck coming out last month. I mean, it's very clear that Tesla is all in on autonomy, all in. And just I told you 20 minutes ago, we're aligned with Tesla's mission and aligned with Tesla's vision, and we're aligned with their strategy. So we're like a speedboat around them, and that's why we're very confident as well. And yeah, that's the confidence Tesla exposes, gives us more confidence as well. And with Dojo coming online, well, in the quarterly earnings, it's very interesting to see from Tesla is that they show two graphs. It's the number of miles driven and the number of compute installed. And those are the two metrics which are the most important metrics for this future to become reality. And both metrics show, like, as Elon called it, a wall. It's going to be exponential. So I think we are very, very, very close to this future happening. It could be as of 2024 or 25 that we will see the first robotaxis from Tesla in place. And of course, we also see all the competitors, robotaxi competitors, already doing their thing in San Francisco. And I believe Tesla has this completely different approach to it, and a completely generic approach. And it completely fits our strategy of buying cars and leasing them out, then redriving them. And we have all the time for this future to become a reality, you know. It's even amazing that this future is actually becoming a reality much earlier than I thought. So we had internal discussions 3 years ago at what date this would happen. And we were talking about 2028, 2030. And now we're talking about 2025. So yeah, there's so much going on. So we're getting more confident every day.
And you can so is your business model sustainable in itself with the leasing? So you basically can wait as long as it takes, or are you at some point depending on this future happening with full FSD?
No, we are just we're an atypical leasing company, but our dynamic is very our business model dynamic is very typical lease company. So it's not high margin, but it's very stable. We have long-term contracts, so it's very predictable as well. Predictable cash flow, predictable numbers. So it's actually a very safe bet on that side. So therefore, we are able to give our investors a 7% interest rate at a very low risk, because they have the assets and the contracts as a how do you say it in English? Well, like as a base.
Collateral, or
Collateral. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. So it's a very safe. It's almost like investing in real estate. I mean, you have a tenant and you have the house. So and with real estate, you also have the kicker that the house is actually it appreciates instead of depreciates. So our business model is very comparable to real estate. It has the very easy dynamics of just having the tenant and having the contract and the asset in place, and we have a kicker at the end if robotaxi happens.
Yeah, let's talk about the vision, because you call yourself chief visionary in your company on LinkedIn. And so what's the vision? Let's say robotaxis happened, FSD is here. You have a fleet of 15,000 capable robotaxis. What would you do with it, and what are the next steps that you can build out this vision for?
Yeah, good question. I must say that I'm also a dreamer, but I call myself a visionary. But I don't know if I'm a true visionary. You know, I'm just an entrepreneur, loving what Tesla is doing, and you know, the first step for us is actually converting that fleet into a robotaxi offering, and we can have like we will come at a kind of a decision point. Are we going to become the operator, or are we going to become like a leasing partner for all the taxi operators? Or maybe we can do both, you know. But we have the experience of leasing, so we can offer all taxi operators, maybe people who are only going to have like a fleet of 20 or 30 cars. We can offer our services as a white label solution. So we call that a robotaxi as a service solution. But I'm also very interested in AI itself. So what is AI gonna bring for solutions? I mean, and what is the AI solution Tesla is going to offer to other people and to other companies? Because with the current offering of their charging licensing, I think they're going to expand that. And Morgan Stanley talked about it yesterday or 2 days before, that they also probably will license their AI infrastructure. So I don't have a clear vision about it yet, but I mean, there's amazing opportunities there. I'm also very intrigued by the humanoid. Maybe we can become a leasing company of humanoids. Maybe Tesla's not going to do that. They're gonna keep them for themselves. I have no idea. But it's going to be such an impact on humanity and on our society that I'm really into this new world. I mean, I've been into the electric vehicle world for like 16 years, and I got a little bit bored, about all the questions about electric charging and it's not possible, blah blah blah. And I gave the answer for a trillion times. So, and I reawakened myself by this whole AI story, and this story Tesla is actually making, and I suddenly realized that Tesla is the leader in AI, and I'm so happy that I'm already following them on the electric car part, and now I'm evolving into a kind of an AI guru as well for myself. So I still have a lot to learn, but I'm intrigued, and I'm reading every part of it, and I'm learning about H100s and etc. There's so much to learn, and with an entrepreneurial spirit, there's always solutions and opportunities. So let's us first become a robot taxi operator or a robot taxi as a service operator. Maybe we will become something of a humanoid operator, and maybe we will evolve in something even more interesting. I mean, I've learned that you are a big SpaceX fan as well. We've been invited by Tesla 4 years ago, I believe, to a launch in Florida, and I saw the two boomers coming down, and that ignited my passion for space as well, and for the things which are possible. So it gave me a lot of hope, a lot of hope for the future. A lot of at this moment, I think the world is in a shitty place. There's a lot of low frequency happening. This, that, blah, blah. And I think this is going to give us such a boost in hope and in energy and in looking forward to this bright world we're entering, and we're entering it so fast that we have no idea that it's happening. I'm having difficulty to explain it to people because I have difficulty to just keep up with the things I'm learning. So I'm maybe we become a space company as well. That's what I'm saying. Maybe we're gonna rent out Cybertrucks on the moon.
Absolutely, you need to think bigger. You need to become a
Yeah,
leasing company for starships. You need to become
exactly.
a
Yeah,
leasing company for boring machines, and
yeah,
solve the congestion problem on the world in the world. You need to become a leasing company of domes on other planets. You could think much bigger.
definitely. Yeah, and
Yeah, amazing. So how do you think will let's go back to robo taxis. How do you think will the day-to-day look like with robo taxis? So, for example, I would assume they would charge themselves. I think that's totally solvable. So how what would be the job of the operating company of a robo taxi fleet, for example? What do you think? Just cleaning the car, maintaining, or what do you think is the main value a fleet operator can provide?
well, it's just the same things that we're doing right now. So it starts with financing the car,
Hmm.
then insuring the car. Obviously, Tesla is going to bring their own insurance. Maintaining, cleaning, Yeah, that's also difficult for us, I mean, to get in the gritty nitty details of what is actually going to be our added value. It's not very clear yet, but the only thing that we know is that if you have the assets, that's something that you already bring in as value, because our assets are already depreciated. So we could offer them at a very low total cost of ownership. So we could offer them at a lower fare for the people who are actually taking the taxi. So I've also learned in our models that we're making for the robotaxi is that charging and having cheap energy is going to be very important. Um, I don't know if you've learned about CERN. It's a guy on X as well. He's made a very nice robotaxi model. We're actually going to work together on making a robotaxi model for operators. And we're gonna use our inputs from our business to make that model. But he already explained that charging is actually going to be a big has going to have a big effect on the total cost of ownership of a robotaxi operator.
How is
So
he called? How do you spell him?
CERN, I will look it up.
Okay, perfect. I can put it to the show notes later.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
CERN Basher. So his X
How
account
do you?
is at CERN, CERN, and then BASHER.
CERN Basher. Okay.
Yeah, he was interviewed by Herbert Ong a
Okay.
week ago.
Yeah, I put it into the
Yeah,
chat if anyone wants to check him out. Yeah, perfect. I will also put it into the show notes later. Amazing. Okay. So we were talking about robo taxis. Yeah, exactly. Energy. So how do you think about energy? Because I'm a little bit worried personally. I mean, I've been looking up the charging infrastructure here in Basel, Switzerland, where I live. So these public charging stations, for example, they are popping up like mushrooms right now. So everywhere, that's fine, but they actually cost between 52 to 62 cents, I think, per kilowatt hour. So it's actually not super cheap to charge there. And of course, people who just rent an apartment, they don't have a garage necessarily, so they can't charge themselves. So I think the realistic scenario is that most people before the robotaxi world, of course, will use these public chargers, and I think there will be a huge, like, yeah, not conflict, but just a huge, yeah, disruption of the whole energy business. And I think that the power companies still have, yeah, basically a monopoly, and that they will just keep rising the network fees and all of the fees associated with it, so that in the end it will still be relatively expensive to charge. So how do you think about energy? Are you thinking about I don't know, doing long-term contracts with power companies? Are you thinking about generating energy yourself with solar farms, with hydro, with wind? How do you think about it, and how do you think about the trajectory we are on regarding energy prices?
yeah. Well, I think in the future energy will be near to zero, because the marginal cost of sun is near zero. So the future price of energy will be zero. But in between that, there's going to be a lot of hiccups. I think what Elon said as well, the demand for energy is going to spike in the next years. So if you are an energy company, you're going to be in the right place at this moment. We have been in the charging business for 8 years as well. We have set up our own fast charging stations. We sold our company to Fastnet, one of the leading charging station operators in the Netherlands. They also partner with Tesla a lot on a lot of locations. But we've learned all the details of charging, and charging will be very cheap in the end. But at this moment, there's a lot of infrastructure built up, which makes charging very expensive. And there's also a lot of intransparency in the market. So and there are a lot of operators and stakeholders within that ecosystem. But we've learned from Tesla as well that they are the clear leader in charging, and they with their affordability strategy have made charging very cheap. And they're not a leader by like 5%. They're a leader like big. They're the number two is very far away. So I think for the charging solutions, we have to really rely on Tesla at this moment for the next coming decade. I think they're going to be the clear leader, and they are already lowering their prices every year. So they are coming down in their prices, and they also showed that they are coming down in their operating costs with charging as well. So they are able to lower their prices. From other charging operators, I have no idea if they are able to lower their prices, because there's a lot of initial investment costs associated with the whole business model. But the energy itself is very cheap. So our price for energy we paid at one of our fast charging locations was like X taxes, was like 9 cents per kilowatt. But if we grew our take rate and we took more energy, it would fall down to 1 cent.
Oh wow!
So there are buckets, and if you take a lot of energy, you fall into the first bucket. So it's going to be very cheap. But what makes energy also difficult is there's a lot of taxes on it. So we have to see how government is gonna work on that as well. And also the grid at this moment is not made for the future that we are thinking about. So that also makes it difficult. But I'm very interested in what Tesla is doing with their Tesla Energy retail plan. They just started in Texas, and in Australia they're starting as well. Mm-hmm. And they are able to offer a full charge for your car for $1 a day. $1 a day.
Wow, that's cheap. Yeah. The question is, who do you think will disrupt the whole energy sector or make it ready for this new world? Do you think Tesla will do it themselves, or do you think we need more companies also helping with the disruption? Because I just feel that the energy business is so old, and a lot of infrastructure, a lot of fixed costs, just a lot of infrastructure that needs to be paid for. How do you see the transition and the disruption of this whole energy sector to finally achieve the super cheap or even free energy we are all hoping for?
Well, obviously, it's not going to come from the existing parties, because they have all this legacy. They don't have the culture. They have all these stranded assets on their balance sheet. So we need companies like Tesla, and there are also smaller companies who are doing their fair share as well. But I think Tesla is going to be a clear leader in this space as well, and that's because they are coupling hardware with software, and they have a clear idea of how they are going to conquer this market. But there's also a lot of regulation in this market, so that makes the rollout a little bit slower than with cars, obviously, or with software itself. But I think their whole idea of their virtual power plant is amazing. And in this whole energy transition, we just need a lot of batteries. cheap batteries. And that's also a part of our idea as well. If cars are not available for the robot taxi, we can put the batteries into a storage solution. So when we had our fast charging stations, we already had some used batteries from trucks, and we use them as a storage solution for our fast charging station. So I think the whole recycling of batteries will also help lower the cost of batteries, and therefore also lower the cost of energy. But I'm not an energy expert. I'm not into the energy market, so I don't think I'm the right person to make this call. I'm just following what Tesla is doing, and we had some experience in the charging business, but I'm not an energy market expert. You should ask Matt Smith, for example.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how do your customers charge their cars? Is it their responsibility? Do they just use public chargers? Do they use their own electricity at home if they have a garage? How do your customers charge their cars?
Yeah, it's their own responsibility at this
Okay.
moment.
Okay, got it. Yeah, because I really see that in the short to mid-term, probably prices could actually go up, as you say, because we are now in this S curve of the transition. So we will have much more demand from electric cars, etc., to use more electricity. And I think the power companies still have the monopoly. So we definitely need more batteries. We need more cheap energy production, and I really hope that Tesla Energy will grow as they envision it to, because it's really needed for such a future. Because if it stays at 50 cents for public chargers, it will just slow down this whole transition.
Yeah, true. Because most of the people live in the cities, so that's where you need the charging. But we also learned that if there's not charging available in the cities, people just charge their car just like they fill up their gas car right now. So eventually, they will fast charge their car more often. And if there are more people increasing the demand at fast charging stations, the fast charging operator will fall into that bucket which I was telling you about. So they will be able to offer the prices at a lower price. At this moment, I think the demand is not big enough yet. Even with 20% BEV adoption rate for new cars, it's still a drop on the total amount of cars which are driving around. So if you look at the Fastnet model, it's very interesting to see, because they are building a public as well, and they are showing their numbers, and they are showing their business model, and they are also showing that they eventually are able to charge at a more cheaper price. So
That's super.
we're still in the early innings of BEV adoption. I think eventually in the cities we will see more fast charging stations than slow charging, and then public charging offerings, because it's just too difficult and too messy to put that in place. And it's easier to fast charge around those areas. Just like
Absolutely.
we don't have any gas stations within the city anymore. It's all around the city at the highways.
Okay, makes sense. So do you think that Tesla will also put superchargers into the cities, or you think they will stay on the fringes of the city?
Well, of course, at parking stations, etc., you can make those, but it also depends on how quickly robotaxi is coming. If that happens, a robotaxi doesn't need to go inside the city to charge. They can also go to the fringe of the city and charge there. So that's also a big influence on this whole charging arena. If this is becoming reality, what is the charging need going to be? Because people are living in the city and they just get their car through the app. They don't need a charging station in front of their house. You know, they just call the car and they don't care about where the car is charged. So the taxi operator needs to think about that. And I don't know if you know Revel. They are based in New York. They have these blue Model Y Teslas. They're amazing. They just put out the front seat, the right hand front seat, to give some more convenience to the people. But they also have their own charging locations, and those charging locations are not in the middle of the city, but at the fringe. They're already preparing for a robot taxi future.
Got it. Yeah, so the first you went all in with your company to Tesla in 2013. So do you still have 2013 Model S's in your fleet? And can you talk about the longevity of the car? So how long would such a car last in your experience? And how many kilometers, battery degradation, all that good stuff? Can you talk about the longevity?
Yeah, so we don't have that many 2013 cars because we only bought about 50 of them back then. But they're still in operation, and some of them have more than 400,000 kilometers on them. Some of them they have already changed their battery during the guarantee period. Some of them had some bigger issues than the others, but clearly the Model S's from 2015 and 16 are better than the 2013 built cars. So there's a difference. But we are getting our Model S's back from 2018 right now. So they are 5 years old, and we want to keep them because we think they're very well built. We now have experience in changing batteries as well. We have experience in changing other big items, and still our maintenance cost per kilometer is drastically low. It's lower than expected. So we already expected a low rate, but every year advances, we see that the kilometer price is still dropping. I've also seen and know about a lot of people who are already driving their Model S from 2013 for more than 600,000 kilometers. So yeah, that's the experience that we have.
Absolutely. So how long do you in your numbers? What's the age of the car you expect the car to reach, or with how many kilometers lifetime driving do you calculate in your numbers? Do you think that a Tesla could be in operation for 15 years and more than 1 million kilometers, for example, or do you have an idea of how long such a car could be used?
Well, from the cars before the last few years, we only think it's about 500,000 kilometers, 600,000.
Okay.
The average car drives like 20,000 kilometers a year in our fleet. So after 5 years, they only have 100,000 kilometers on their numbers. So after 10 years, it's only 200,000 kilometers. So we don't think that we're going to sell them after 10 years as well. So we have to see. I think the new build Model 3 and Model Y are built to drive 1 million kilometers, but we don't have the numbers yet. So we're just following Tesla in that.
Absolutely. So you said the maintenance costs are even lower than you expected. So what does the maintenance look like for the average Tesla? Can Can you talk about that and compare it to gas cars, for example, if people are not aware yet of how low maintenance a Tesla really is?
Yeah, it's about the. It depends how old the car is, of course. So with a normal gas car, you will get rid of it after 5 years because the maintenance costs are too high compared to the depreciation. But we see the difference with Teslas is that the maintenance costs compared to depreciation is actually staying very low. So that makes it easy for us to actually give a very interesting value proposition to our clients, because we still make a margin on that. So we drop our prices by 150 to 200 euros a month, but the maintenance cost is not accelerating. It stays stable. Of course, a Model X is different than a Model 3 or Model Y, because there are more replacement parts and it's a more sophisticated car. But that's the exception on the other 4 cars.
Do you have Model X's in your fleet?
Yes, lots. I think
Okay.
about 400 of them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. So can you also talk about battery degradation? So, for example, after 200,000 kilometers, when you completed two of those cycles with your customers, how much battery capacity is still left, or how much does it degrade, for example, per year in your experience?
Well, it's between 80 and 90%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's closer to 90% than 80. So it's still very high. And the battery degradation, we always thought that because of fast charging that will go faster, but we have learned that it's not a very big effect. So no, we're also, it's something that we discussed like 10 years ago that it could be a problem, but as of 5 years we don't even talk about it anymore. You know, it's a non-issue. I'm actually quite amazed by the question. You know, it's not an issue. It's not something that we are. In the beginning, we were actually really managing the battery, and we were looking at it and seeing if it would hold up. But we're so confident about it right now that we don't even look at it. We are
So
working together with.
do you require your customers? Excuse me. Do you require your customers to only charge to 80%, for example? Do you manage that, or would it be also fine to go from 0 to 100% charges or is that still the case that you shouldn't go to 0 and you shouldn't go above 80 or 90%? What's your experience?
Of course, it's better not to do it, but it's not an issue for us. I mean,
Okay.
That's something that we talked about a lot, like 8 years ago as well, because we also had other cars, like Nissan Leafs and well, all the other car companies, and they had a less sophisticated software battery management system. But I think the software battery management system of Tesla is so sophisticated that it's a non-issue anymore. And we also first try to educate our clients about this, but we don't do that anymore. It's it's funny that you ask, because it's reflecting the history of my of a few years ago, you know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think what people might ask, or actually it's interesting to think from a fleet perspective, because we now have,
Sure.
I think, almost 5 million, or I don't know whether we already reached the 5 million Teslas on the road, or produced at least. So we have millions of Teslas on the road, and it's just interesting to think about the fleet management of the whole Tesla fleet, right? When we then think about 10 million, 20 million cars produced per year. So it might actually amaze us or surprise us on the positive side, right? How low the battery degradation is, how many kilometers or miles you can drive with one Tesla, and how low the maintenance costs are. So yeah, it seems from what you say that Teslas could easily be driven for 10 to 15 years or reach 500 to 1 million kilometers. So this shouldn't be an issue. And with the rate of innovation, it might actually get even better over time, right? So the progress is actually positive. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. As I told you, it was something which was on our mind like 8 years ago. But with the rate of innovation and what we're also seeing is that, and that's the lack of data that we have as well, is that the newer cars, the Model 3s and Model Ys, they don't have that much kilometers on it yet.
Sure.
And but the numbers that we do get, it doesn't surprise us. It doesn't make us anxious. And of course, the older cars, the 2013 cars, they had some problems, definitely.
Yeah.
And we don't have any of those anymore in our fleet. But I think the cars who are coming out of Giga Berlin and out of Texas and out of Shanghai right now, I think they are all capable of driving 1 million kilometers.
Wow.
But I'm not the guy who is able to tell you if that's really true. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have the numbers yet.
Absolutely. So you said you also had experience with other brands, like with Nissan Leafs, etc. And the battery management system was much worse there. So I would assume the degradation, etc., was worse there. Do you keep track of the current evolution of other companies, of other EVs? So have you tested, I don't know, VW ID3 or whatever, to see whether other companies made progress? Or do you think so basically the question is, what's the competitive landscape look like, and would you consider other brands for your fleet, or are you Tesla only?
Yeah, we do that regularly. I'm not the guy who is doing that on a daily basis, but we have a team who's doing that. We have a scale of MisterGreen, and we have all these numbers that we're looking at from a different perspective. And it's funny, but every year we get this question from our financiers as well. Shouldn't you do this new car? It's coming out. It's amazing. It's from this and this OEM. It's going to be this price, etc. And then we say, yeah, let's take a look. And we already took a look, of course. And every time that we compare it to the current offering of Tesla, it's not good enough, or it's not cheap enough, or it doesn't have the range, and or it doesn't have the charging capabilities. And as of the last 2 years, we are focusing a lot more on FSD and on self-driving, and there are not a lot of other OEMs who are able to offer that already in their hardware. So the whole idea of Tesla, the whole idea of building cars as of 2016, which are capable of becoming a robotaxi car, we haven't found that yet within a competitor yet. Of course, there are some Chinese companies who are copying that strategy, but as I told you, I don't think there's a close competitor yet on self-driving technology. Maybe you have to think of Mobileye or NVIDIA, but they're working with a few OEMs who don't have the business model yet in place, which we are able to use with Tesla. So, of course, we're looking. Of course, we're comparing, but Tesla always comes up as number one. And not only in capabilities, also in price, but also in the future technologies, and also in business model.
So how close are so let's differentiate between the car itself and the FSD. I think these are two different topics. How close are the current competitors, just from a car perspective, to a Tesla. So I don't know, who would you consider the number two in terms of car?
I don't know. I don't even know it by head, you know.
Okay.
But it depends on what you look at. Um, I'm actually thinking. No, for me, it's very clear in my head. We are all in on Tesla.
Yeah.
I have my team looking at all the other stuff,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
for me, it's very clear, and it's a discussion which happens a lot also outside of the company, and I understand. Um, but it's also something that's what I said about we are mission driven, and Tesla is also mission driven, and it comes from the heart, you know. It comes from a good place, and we still have some problems as well of other OEMs not having that same drive, you know. It's still they're just trying to do something in order to make the market happy, but they're not all in, you know. They're still with two legs into two different markets, and it shows in the product. uh, it's not as good, it's not as thought of, it is not, it's just not everything. Everybody thinks that an original car manufacturer can just build an electric car, but it's a total different beast. um, that's one, and I don't think Tesla is a car. It's a robot in the car industry, but it's not a car. You know, it looks like a car, it feels like a car, you drive it like a car, but it's not a car. um, we say it's a robot on wheels, and eventually the robot will stand up and become a humanoid. And that's the clear difference. And I haven't seen any other OEM have this kind of DNA within their company, and this kind of thinking, and this kind of entrepreneurial all-in mentality as well. That's why I love the excerpts of the book from Elon, that he was willing to bet the company again a year ago, saying, "No, I don't want to make a second car. I just want to go all in on the robot taxi car." And eventually, the management team said, "No, no, no, we should make a $25,000 car as well." And I think it's a very wise decision. But the whole idea that Elon doesn't want to do that, and he really challenges people to think like that. That's why we are all in on Tesla as well. And it's sometimes it's also difficult to explain. You know, it's also I often think that I'm post-rationalizing my intuition. You know, it's just it's my intuition saying, yeah, this is the best. This is the best thing that we should do as Mr. Green. And
Absolutely, I totally agree. I mean, if you really think about it, Tesla is a AI and robotics company, and I totally agree that the Tesla cars are robots on wheels, and they will build many different form factors in the future. One might be humanoid, one might be whatever the form factor might be. There will be certainly more than two form factors in the future, but it all depends on basically solving the vision based or real world AI. And once they have solved it, they can just roll it out into various form factors. So, and I believe there is no second competitor that's even remotely close. So maybe at one point, some Chinese company, I think China will invest into AI, and probably at some point there will be huge companies out of China. But I think this time is still really far away. And I also think, yeah, what do you think about the other like FSD competitors like Waymo or Cruise? Do you think they have a chance? Do you think they will survive, or how do you view them?
I don't think so. I think they're betting on the old technology, They're also already pretty old. They're like 10, 12 years old. They're trying, but they're losing a lot of money every year. I think they have the wrong approach with their HD maps and lidar. Um, I don't think they're scalable, and I don't think they're able to become profitable. Um, it's also something I learned last 6 to 12 months, but it's getting more clear and clear that the way Tesla is approaching this, the way they're doing it, they're doing incrementally, and they're doing it the right way with the 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 scalable way. So they're not first to market, but they are the most scalable solution. And with the dojo coming online and all this compute power they're buying, and with V12 only needing compute power, not needing engineers anymore. So the bottleneck is compute power and data. It's not engineers anymore. So it's amazing that Tesla made this bet already 6 years ago, and they made the right bet. You know, they really nailed it again. It's amazing every time. Every time you get into that rabbit hole and you learn more about it, you're learning. Wow, they even this market they also nailed it. And no, so I'm not a firm believer of the other ones. I think Mobileye or Nvidia, they have a better chance because they also. But the problem is they don't have the cars, so they need OEMs to work together with them. We have to see. I think Comma AI is a very interesting party as well, and obviously some Chinese parties. But I think the steps Tesla is making right now are huge, and well, the only thing I can do is talk about what every other expert is already talking about. So I'm just rephrasing them. It's for me. It's also very interesting to learn about it, and it's for me. It's also like a real life MBA, seeing everything working out um, uh, and learning about how AI is actually developing and how business models around AI are developing, and what are the critical elements of the future business models around AI. What do you need in order to become the leader in the field? And those two are at this moment data and compute power. So, and I think Tesla is a clear leader in that. In this
Yeah,
space.
if you really think about it, I mean, it's really mind blowing, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around like the whole Tesla ecosystem. And I'm learning every day. I'm putting the pieces together. But if you think about it, they really have everything in place. And now the landscape has shifted completely to AI, and they already have prepared their compute. They have their own chip. They have Dojo. They are buying as many NVIDIA chips as they can. So they are already on track to have one of the leading supercomputers in the world, and probably will have the most compute in the world. But then, as you say, so even if some other company would have FSD right now, which of course they are years behind, but if they would have it, they wouldn't even have the cars. So you couldn't just magically make appear millions of cars out of thin air, right? So the other part of this whole Tesla ecosystem is their real advantage in manufacturing and their innovation in manufacturing capability. So in the future, they will be able to stamp out gigafactories out of nothing. They will be able to stamp out various products, basically like Matchbox cars, various form factors. So they are really building like a huge machine that will transform millions of tons of raw material into really useful products. And I think this is what the people are not understanding yet. So Tesla will not only be the only or the first one to really solve FSD, hopefully, but then they will also be able to make millions and tens of millions of cars and of course other form factors that other companies just don't have the capability. Even if they had the software, even if they had the data, they couldn't stamp out these products. So it's really amazing. All of these puzzle pieces, it's like 4D chess that Elon has been playing for the past 20 years, and everything is coming together. So they are ready now for AI. They are ready for mass manufacturing with all their gigafactories and stamping presses and all of these innovations. And they have the best software team. They have the best talent. They are a magnet for talent. So it's amazing. All of these dozens and hundreds of pieces are coming together. And if you think about it, with the Boring Company, with Neuralink, with SpaceX, it's just such a huge, with X now, it's becoming such a huge ecosystem that I believe that the major risk, and I'm 100% sure that the major risk, the number one risk for Tesla in the future, or for the whole Elon Musk ecosystem, will be government intervention, because they will become the largest company on Earth. They will become more, basically have more power than even the biggest governments on Earth. So I don't know whether you read the Mars trilogy, but there they talked about multinational companies becoming transnational companies. So basically companies that will become even more powerful than governments and basically will end up in a way replacing governments. And I believe that Tesla's ecosystem, or Elon Musk's ecosystem, might as well become such a transnational company one day, spanning different planets, spanning the whole world, and basically be this huge monopoly in a good way, because they are just the only ones that are able to execute on that. But it's amazing how all these pieces are coming together.
Yeah, you were talking about the Mars trilogy. What is that?
Mars trilogy. It's 3 books, science fiction books. I think it's Red Mars, Blue Mars, Green Mars,
Okay.
and really fantastic. It shows you how to terraform Mars. I think it has been written a long time ago. I don't know how scientifically accurate it is, but it just made me think about all of these problems that that humanity might face once we colonize Mars, once we build a city on Mars. Because then the question is, what government structure will we have there? Will Mars become independent or self-sustaining? And once they are self-sustaining and thriving, will there once be a conflict between Earth and Mars? So they talk about all of these wars between Earth and Mars, and how to the hundreds of years it will take to terraform Mars. And basically these huge corporations. So there were these like 5 or 7 mega corporations, these transnationals that were basically ruling the world. And I think, it's just really inspiring to see such a possible future. I'm not saying this will happen here, but it's very well possible that the Elon Musk ecosystem will become really powerful if they are able to fulfill their mission. And it's amazing to see it's just happening in plain sight. It's not hidden. It's not some Area 51 conspiracy. It's happening in plain sight. Everything is transparent. I mean, Elon, Tesla's master plan has been public since 2006. It's been published on the Tesla website since 2006, and of course, master plan part 2, part 3, and all of these other things. I mean, Elon is really public, and still you just need to put all of these pieces together. But I'm just amazed how such a large ecosystem can still fly under the radar, because people still think that Tesla will fail. People still think that it's all like a hoax, or I don't know what people are thinking, or so much FUD. But they are just not seeing what a gigantic ecosystem is being built in plain sight. And I think it's actually good for us shareholders, because the longer we can fly under the radar, the better for us, because the more value will be created, and the later the government intervention will come, and maybe one day it will be too late when the ecosystem is too powerful. But I'm just amazed how people don't see it, or how crazy we are. I don't know. One of the two has to be true. Either we are completely crazy and completely lost everything. We are in a bubble, in the Elon Musk bubble, and think all of this will happen, and it won't. That's one possibility. Or the other possibility is everything is happening in plain sight, and nobody is able to connect the dots. And a few of us are connecting the dots. Of course, I think Elon's dots are much more connected, and he's already thinking 50 years into the future. But it's amazing when you start to put these pieces together, and I just don't understand how such a huge ecosystem can fly under the radar.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I'm also intrigued by your idea of this 8 transnational companies. I've been thinking about that as well. Also with people who are in the same bubble as we are, if I may say that that way. It's quite interesting that we're not having that discussion already in the public space, because that's the discussion we should have. How is that going to look like? But maybe it's just also something that has to happen in our society, that governments are not that important anymore. Maybe we're already seeing that there is some it's the end of government. It's kind of crazy to tell, but I'm still pro-government. But there's also a lot of things happening in government that you are saying, okay, is that? Why is it happening? And I think I'm very interested to see how this economy is gonna evolve into what you say is going to be so immensely big that as an entrepreneur, as an investor, I'm very intrigued by this story, because I'm seeing the potential, I'm seeing the upside, but I have no idea about the downside yet. I have no idea about how this new world will evolve. This how should we call it? This new universe, because it's not about Earth anymore. I've been I didn't read about it yet, but Eden has been referring to a couple of books lately as well, from Ian Banks.
Yeah,
The Culture.
I haven't read it. I haven't read them as well, but I want to get into them. Yeah. Have you read them?
No, not yet. I just started with the first, but I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
I was distracted by all the YouTube things I'm watching as well.
Yeah. So here is the it's actually the transnationals. So let's read it together, because I really think it's really interesting. So let me transnationals. Let me search that as well. So it starts here with the transnationals. So transnationals were private mega corporations that ruled the Earth economy in the period of 2030 to 2100. They were the result of mergers of smaller companies in search of economies of scale in the capitalist struggle for greater efficiency. They progressively took precedence over governments in many parts of the world, which resulted in continuing tensions between them and international bodies. The influence of the transnationals extended to Mars, where the entire economic activity and the quasi-entirety of the immigration was ensured by transnationals. And then it evolved into metanationals. Metanationals were private gigacorporations resulting from the fusion of many transnationals in the decades following World War III in the later 21st century. The metanationals completely overtook national rule in terran affairs and became the new world order of the 2100s. And there were like the 5 or 6 metanationals in this story. But I just thought it was so interesting to just think about one possible future. I mean, I'm sure our future will be completely different, but it's completely plausible. It's completely plausible that these huge companies like Google and Amazon and Tesla, etc., will become really huge corporations, or even OpenAI maybe, or whatever it may be, Chinese companies. And then, of course, at one point they will become more powerful than governments. It's in my view, it's inevitable. And then, if you think about private companies like SpaceX that will start building cities on other planets or on the moon, etc., it will be really interesting, but it also will be scary, because there will be a lot of disruption, not just on the product side or on the technology side, but also potentially on the society scale. So there will be huge disruptions coming. Of course, we're talking about decades and maybe hundreds of years into the future. But then, if we think about the AI world, if we think about the potential of an AGI that is being developed, if we think about Neuralink and the potential merger of humans into this AI world, it becomes really interesting. And the other trilogy I would highly recommend is the Nexus trilogy by Ramez Nam. It's a fantastic story about nanocomputers that you can basically take like psychedelics. You can drink it, and it connects with your neurons, and it basically lets you run software in your brain, and it lets you connect to other humans in a hive mind-to-mind communication like technology. And the trilogy talks about how this Nexus is being developed, how it's being used, and then how it transformed the world. And I think if we just think about Neuralink, we might get to a world where we have such a nexus in our brain, where we can connect our brain to the internet, where we have mind-to-mind communication, where we can have real hive minds, because right now everything is external from us. If we think about X as the global consciousness of humanity, and because it's the most real-time exchange we have, but it's all external of us. Now imagine it all will be internal. I would be able to connect to your mind, or you would be able to open up yourself completely to me. I would be able to see your whole history, to feel how you feel, to have complete empathy, of course, if you give me the permission. But of course, there will also be risks, because you can hack these systems, you can control people when you can hack them. And the Nexus trilogy, I think, combined with the Mars trilogy, just completely opened my mind. And Elon has been talking about it, that he has read dozens of science fiction books, and that it completely shaped his imagination. And I've already only read a few so far, so I really want to also make a deep dive into the culture series, and to so many great I have a whole list of like 20 science fiction books. But I think it's really important that we start imagining how such a future could look like. And I think I'm really excited, but also worried about it, because there will be a lot more disruption in the future than we can even imagine, in my opinion.
It's so funny. I mean, this is exactly the thing that is fascinating me at this moment as well. But I don't have the time at this moment to really dive deep into it. But I had a lunch with somebody a week ago. He's fascinated by robots and AI as well, and we had this exactly same discussion about what will happen if we are able to have telepathy. And you're reframing it. You're saying it's like an inner consciousness, or the X is like external, and we are what. Imagine if you can put that internally. And we had the discussion that it's already happening, but it's not within us exactly as you told us right now. But there is already a kind of consciousness which is outside of us, and we are tapping into it. And that's also where my fascination goes. Why am I so fascinated by this X? Why am I so fascinated by this consciousness? Why does that intrigue me so much? I'm also very open to have this telepathy thing because uh, uh, I think our mind goes so much faster than we can speak or we can express ourselves. And I sometimes, when I'm in meditation, when I'm just sitting and just being, I get so much more information than when I'm reading or doing anything else. So that's also fascinating. Where is that information coming from? You know, it's already there. The consciousness is more than the things that we are thinking. It's already something collectively. Uh, and we're entering a world where the technology is going to help us tap into that consciousness. It looks like, and of course it's frightening. But I was also very amazed by this documentary AlphaGo. You've probably seen it as well. It was
No,
already
not
six
yet.
years ago. AlphaGo, you haven't seen it?
AlphaGo I saw, but I haven't seen this documentary about it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's amazing. It's free on YouTube. It tells this story about DeepMind, who actually gonna wins from this AlphaGo master in Korea, and this guy is amazed by the possibilities he can have if he could tap into DeepMind, because he said then I can get into next conscious levels. I can get into a higher state, a state I'm not able to get into if I will be on my own.
Yeah,
So
it becomes really philosophical, because the
yeah,
question then in the end is, for me, will it all be a blessing or will it be a curse? Are
yeah,
we building a curse for humanity? Because Elon talked about it in one of the excerpts, I think, in the biography. He said, yeah, I think the Walter talked about it in Lex Friedman's podcast about death. So Silicon Valley right now is obsessed with longevity and with trying to live forever. But Elon says, and Steve Jobs said it as well, that death might actually be the single best invention of life. So that it actually clears out the old and makes way for the new. That's what Steve Jobs said. And Elon is saying that basically he cannot imagine anything worse than living forever, because what if you're just trapped? I mean, there's this cryopreservation that some people have started to do, where you can either freeze your brain or freeze your whole body after you died and preserve your body into the future, when the technology will be good enough so you can be unfreezed again and live and live again. But what if then your soul would be freezed and you would be stuck in this state for hundreds or thousands or millions of years, and you couldn't basically go on with your spiritual development? That would actually be a curse and not a blessing. So I'm really careful with that. And also the other tangent I'm thinking about when we think about this philosophical discussion is basically I've participated 2 months ago. I've participated in a pharmahuasca study, an ayahuasca a clinical study, where I took 5 times ayahuasca in a clinical setting, with the goal to develop some mental health therapies out of it. But it really opened completely my view to new insights, and to ask myself these questions: what is it all about? What is humanity about? Etc. So I think all of these, and we also are seeing this huge psychedelics renaissance right now, which maybe could also be one puzzle piece to finally get these answers that we need. Because what if we are trapping ourselves? What if humanity is on the way to cursing itself, be like the Sisyphus in the Greek mythology, where you just go up this mountain, you never reach the mountain, and you always keep falling down, and you just repeat this cycle for eternity? I think we also need to be careful what we are getting ourselves into. And yeah, I think it's really fascinating to think about all of these things.
definitely. I'm intrigued by your pharma ayahuasca session. That's
Yeah, and I think that the Netherlands are really progressive with that, right? So certain substances, of course, are legal in the Netherlands, and you have retreats, I think, that are already have a license to operate retreat centers. So you can, if somebody would want to do such a experience, of course, you need to do it under guidance and under proper circumstances. So I think the Netherlands, among other countries, are really progressive with that. And for me, it just opened up a completely new way of viewing the world, because I was seeing different realities and different realms that I just didn't thought possible, and it just gave me new information, how to live my life, and it was absolutely fascinating. Are you at all in touch with this topic?
yes, definitely. Uh, I'm eating mushrooms right now. It's also very interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
because
mushrooms are legal in the Netherlands, right? Or
yeah,
how's the yeah?
yeah. And
So
what?
how much do you take? Do you do microdosing, or what do you do?
No, I'm not microdosing. I'm just taking it for a session, for like a 4 hour session.
Ah, nice. Yeah, 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 of course. Yeah.
And I've been a breath coach as well, so conscious breathing.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
So I've been doing that for a few years now. Right now, it's amazing how you really get into yourself and into your body and what the body is actually telling you. So I've been on this spiritual travel for the last 5 6 years,
Oh, wow.
and I've learned that everything which happens outside is already inside. So um, also with the mushrooms, you go inside, you go into the softer, loving emotions, and I find it more intriguing than the new realms or the new outside stuff. I'm actually pretty good in that stuff, and being hopeful. And but I'm very open to this new pharma ayahuasca idea. It's I'm very interested to learn from you what you have learned from that, and
Yeah,
especially in
I've
the
actually published a Q&A. It's on my channel.
okay.
You find it one of the last live streams. I was interviewed by actually by someone I met on X, and he interviewed me. What my experience was, like
Oh,
one
great.
hour 1 hour Q&A. I shared everything. I really like to be public about these things, because the cool thing is, finally, in Basel. I grew up here in Basel. I've been here my whole life in Switzerland, but LSD was actually invented here in Basel.
Yeah.
Psilocybin has been first synthesized here in Basel. So finally, and actually the cool thing is that even though psychedelics were prohibited, and also the science was prohibited in most of the world. Actually, the science in Switzerland, I think Switzerland might be the only country where the science, the psychedelic science, never stopped. So it continued throughout the 80s, 90s, 2000s. It never stopped. And Switzerland right now is one of the leading countries for psychedelic research. So in Basel, in Zurich, in Bern, we have dozens of studies right now running. So I will be participating in another study in a few months with also with MDMA, with 2CB, and with mushrooms as well, with psilocybin. I'm really excited about that. But for me, it's like a complete new world, and I'm also seeing like this renaissance of this topic, and new startups are being created, and new treatment options are being developed and thought up. And I really think I also think it's of course not like a silver bullet. It's not a magic pill that will solve everything, but it's just a tool that can that can allow you to see things more clearly. So I would be interested also in your experiences, if you don't mind to share a little bit more. How often did you do that already, and what did you learn so far?
Well, maybe I should share some personal things. I mean, I've been working for Mr. Green for 16 years now, and I think 4 or 5 years ago I had this idea. I was a little bit burned down, and so I got interested in learning more about myself. And so I went on a weekend with just 10 guys, and we just talked without alcohol, without any substances. We did a lot of cold water exposure, and we did a sweat lodge. And in the sweat lodge, it happened. It was like a rebirth. It was amazing. We were with 10 guys, we were chanting and we were screaming and we were telling our most intimate stories. And I came out of that sweat lodge. I went to my parents. I said, "This and this and this it's happened, and um, what do you think about it?" So it really felt as a rebirth. It really felt as I had to go to my mom and tell her about it, and that was my kickoff event into a whole series of things I experienced. And one of the most intriguing experiences I had was is conscious breathing. This without substances, but just
Yeah.
your own breathing. It can get you into a state within 6 minutes, which is you can either go really outside of yourself and experience all these things that we are connected to, or you can go inside yourself and really experience what is actually blocking you and what you have kept in your body, all the stress and all the trauma you've kept and you've learned from all the years and you never expressed, and now you really get into that blockade and breathe through it and just get the pain out. And that was very interesting for me. And then I also started with these mushroom ceremonies. I started with eating mushrooms in other ceremonies as well, and um, the whole idea of sitting in ceremonies again, something that we have totally unlearned as civilization, and all the rituals around that. It's so interesting. Um, so no, I'm very intrigued by the whole idea, and I've never done ayahuasca before, but it's on my list, and maybe pharma ayahuasca is is the way to go forward to do the first thing. Um, when I was a young kid, when I was 18, I did some LSD already, so that was like maybe there something happening already there, but what I wasn't conscious about. Um, um, I always thought that I was already really open-minded and open to all these new kind of ideas, and I was always intrigued by the future. Um, and I really love like the whole idea that we started talking about Tesla, Mr. Green, and that we were talking about psychedelics and spirituality, and that's probably also why I'm intrigued by the whole Tesla story, unconsciously as well. So as I told you, I'm just intrigued by my heart. It feels good. It's intuitively. It's something that we are as a society going into, and it's just manifesting at this moment. It's just happening, and I think there's gonna we will go through a stage where a lot of things are gonna change. I think we're a very disruptive stage at this moment, and we have to be conscious about what we want as a humanity. But I think it's uh, I've also read a book. It's called the Nova Saying, and it actually talks about that we are coming from an Anthropocene into the Nova Saying, and that we created technology already, but that we were meant to create technology, and that we are part of the evolution of technology. So
How is that book called?
Nova Sane, Nova Scene.
Okay, interesting. And yeah, I think this is really important because in the end, it's about how will humanity's evolution continue? I think this is the big question, because we as a human race have always been like striving for progress. We wanted to reduce our suffering. We wanted to live better lives, and I think that's like deep down one of our key motivators. But the other motivator, of course, is also to understand, to make sense of how does the universe work, how did it all come to be. And I think these questions have also been with us for millions of years. And I think with mission-driven companies like Tesla and the whole Elon Musk ecosystem, with new potential therapies, with the help of substances, with AI, with technology, I think we have an opportunity to develop ourselves, or to get to know ourselves, to understand the universe better. And I think that's also what excites me personally. My personal mantras are learn and grow, and live what's the English word for basically be like water. So live and be active and float like water. And these are like my two mantras in my life. So I love to learn. I love to experience the human, the full human bouquet. And I'm also just a seeker. So I'm also interested to reduce my own suffering. I'm interested to learn how to live a better life, to have better relationships, and so on and so forth. So it seems that we are both on similar paths, and I think we all as humans are on a similar path. So I think that's also what interests me. And I think the other thing is that Elon Musk, I think, also had some psychedelic experiences, and Steve Jobs had some important psychedelic experiences. So I think these substances might even be more important, or have influenced us more than we might believe. And there is this one theory, I don't know whether it's true or not, this stoned ape theory. I don't know whether you heard from it. That basically, because these psilocybin mushrooms, right, they are growing everywhere. These are just part of nature. And the idea is that there has been this part in human evolution where the brain, within a relatively short period of time, like got exploded and got much bigger. And the puzzle is, why did that happen? And one of the theories are that the early humans started to eat mushrooms, and that these mushrooms then led to this growth in the brain size, and in the connectivities and the neural connectivities, and basically helped us develop all of these things that we have developed. So this is an interesting theory. No idea whether this is true, but what is true, what we already know, is that I think there are 20 or 30 animals or species that are eating psilocybin mushrooms on a regular basis. So I think this is just really interesting. This is part of nature. It has been part of our diet, or of the diet of animals for hundreds of thousands or millions of years. So this is not something that we just invented, some chemical substances that have never been known before. These are really interesting substances that have the ability to connect with our serotonin receptors and create really interesting phenomena in our brain. So I'm really also fascinated with this topic, and I'm also doing deep dives, because I just think this could really revolutionize mental health and revolutionize our quality of life and our level of consciousness. There's also this great book, Levels of Energy, by Frederick Dodson, where he talks about this scale between basically level of energy of 0 is like the demonic, the hellish part of the being, and 1000 would be like being one with the universe. And it talks about the evolution of the increasing level of consciousness of us humans. And I really believe that we are on an upward trend. I know we have a lot of suffering, we have a lot of wars and stuff, a lot of things are not good yet, but I still believe that when you zoom out, our trend is positive, and we are actually, as a human race, we are raising our level of consciousness, and that makes me feel really hopeful. And yeah, being an observer of the Elon Musk ecosystem is really connecting. Like you said, it's really a matter of the heart. It just feels intuitively right. It feels being on the right side of history. And I really hope that this ecosystem will succeed and won't somehow come crumbling down, because I think humanity would lose a lot of value if that would happen.
Oh, it's amazing. This is actually the part that my co-founder and I found each other. We found each other on positivity and on this high scale of energy.
Ah,
That's what we are. That's where we connect, and that's the basis of our company as well. And every time we have to remind ourselves about this. And it's interesting because sometimes I also go down in my energy, or sometimes he goes down in his energy. And that's amazing. Always the time that the company is not doing good as well. And when we reconnect, and we are on that same energy again, then the company gets better as well. And well, you just said such amazing things. That's exactly what's all about. And that's why I also refer to the hope part, and that's why we are so intrigued by Elon always saying it's about hope. And I got it in one of my slides as well, because I said we went to the Giga Berlin opening.
We can. Should I show some of your slides?
Yeah, it's actually it's pretty cool because it's exactly what we're talking about.
Perfect.
So
Let's do that.
We're here at our mission. Why MisterGreen? We are in an existential crisis. Sorry, I'm going too fast or not?
You can go through the presentation if you want. Why not?
So I think our existential crisis is actually a leadership crisis. It has to do with choices we make. And I had this vision when I was on a nature quest for 4 days without having any water or any food. And on the third day, I had this vision that I wanted to go around the moon and back. And what I want to tell about that? Well, the whole idea is that it's not about going to the moon and back, but it's going to the moon and back. This one philosopher also thought about it. It's about reinventing yourself, reinventing who you are. He also says, "I love you to the moon and back." It's all about yourself. It's not about other people or the world or etc. It's your own universe, what you're talking about. So if you're at a positive level, you the rest around you is also on a positive level. So we think it's a leadership crisis. We think we are still very hopeful. This is one of our slides from 10 years ago. We already said the sun shines every day. The old age is over. The 21st century will be the century of the electric car powered by the sun, etc., etc. And then our next slide, we are still hopeful. And this was last year. I came back from the Gigafactory in Berlin, and I saw this art form. And this is exactly what I felt when I came back from Giga Berlin. There was so much hope that there will be 2 million cars coming out of that factory. And this was in the middle of Berlin. And this is the statement Elon says. hope is so important. You want to wake up in the morning and think the future is going to be great. And that's what being a spacefaring civilization is all about. It's about believing in the future and thinking that the future will be better than the past. And I can't think of anything more exciting than going out there and being among the stars. And
Wow.
I love that statement. And this was the party at the Gigafactory with the coils from Nikola Tesla. So I thought maybe Elon is just channeling Nikola Tesla, and we're actually seeing a rebirth of Nikola Tesla. So obviously this is making some fun of this all, but this is our spirit of our company. It's about being hyper bullish. These are our gurus, Katie Wood, Tony Seba, Monroe. You know them. And then next slide, we are winning, etc., etc. So I just wanted to show you that after you were saying these beautiful words.
I totally agree, and actually, it was one of the takeaways from one of my pharmahuasca ceremonies, that in the end, it's all about hope, and hope and love are connected, and hope and love are the main drivers of humanity. I believe, or at least these are the main drivers for me, because I also had some dark times in my life, and I never lost hope. And hope always got me through the darkest of times. And yeah, it was interesting during my ceremony. I was seeing like bits and scenes from my childhood. I was going back to my childhood. I was even going back. I was seeing how I was conceived by my parents. I saw how I was in the womb of my mother, and I felt it, and I felt that I was created, or I was a product of love, because I always had the question: was I really created by love, or was it chance, or whatever? Was I wanted in the end? That was my question. Was I a wanted child or not? And there I got the answer that yes, I was created through love, and yes, I was wanted, and that was the answer I wanted, but I felt it deep in my heart and my soul. And yeah, it just showed me that hope and love are the most important qualities in probably the universe, hopefully. And I don't know whether you saw Interstellar, but there my takeaway was also yeah, basically love transcends space and time. And it's just a fascinating movie, and that really deeply connected with me, also with the father daughter angle. And yeah, I totally agree, and I love these slides that you are basically, yeah, building this company with a soul, with hope, with love, right? And I think that's what it's all about. And if you say that we have a leadership crisis, I think the crisis is really that I don't say that people don't have hope or don't have heart, but we just took the wrong turn, and we got distracted by bad emotions, or fear, or a fear of missing out, or wanting to be loved, essentially. Because what's the motivator of human behavior? It's either wanting recognition, or being afraid of something, or being anxious. So I think a lot of human behavior is motivated by these like lower states of consciousness. And I think that with companies like Elon's ecosystem, and with entrepreneurs like you, I think we really bring the soul back into companies, into society. And I think that's what it's all about. And I love to see that.
Yeah, that's what I also learned during my. I've been on a world trip last year, and I had the opportunity to read some stuff as well. But I also learned a lot about the philanthropy side of Elon Musk, and that he exactly explains that the only way to have a real philanthropy is by being a company with a soul. company with a mission, because that's the only sustainable way to become or to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So it also gave me a new idea about what a company actually is. And I also learned that the whole well, I'm not going to talk about that, but the whole idea of being a company is much more than what we normally think of what a company is. It's much more than that, and of course, you always have your dark sides in the company as well, and your lows. But there is always highs, and there's always the I'm sometimes wondering why I'm still doing this after 16 years. How am I able to do this every time again? Why am I always looking for the pain or for the being out of my own comfort level? But I think that's really part of being human as well. I mean, and companies are getting more human, more and more, and that's why I'm intrigued by Tesla as well, because it's not about becoming the biggest company in the world. It's not about becoming the most profitable company, or there's something else going on. And that's what we as Mr. Green try to do as well. Of course, we need the money to stay alive, and we need to, but it's more of a fuel than it's to keep the car going, than it's the end goal. It's not about the money, but you need the money to evolve, to get better, and the whole dynamics of getting the company better. It's a very spiritual thing, actually, to be creative and think of ideas. To the whole idea that we started Mr. Green, I think the energy was also quite rebellious, like to fight against the status quo. That was my first energy when I started Mr. Green. I wanted to fight against the status quo. But I started leaving that energy, because it's not about that anymore. I mean, the status quo already lost. It already happened. So the new energy is actually what you were talking about right now. It's what are we as humans going to evolve into, and what are we experiencing at this moment in society? It's much more than that. We are really awakening as a species. The car is not only awakening, but the whole we are awakening. And I really love that you're saying that there's that in Switzerland there in some way there it was possible to really rediscover all the, or it wasn't banned. I mean, the why was it banned at all? In the 60s and the 70s. Why don't we discuss that? Why is it freely available right now? Because we evolved as well in 20, 30 years. And I think
absolutely.
what you were talking about, animals eating, I think that before we don't even know about all these. I'm also fascinated about pyramids lately as well, because they are telling us something as well, that there probably was a lot more consciousness back then than there is right now, or we were on a higher level then. So maybe we are evolving very fast at this moment. Maybe we are evolving into the same stuff as well. Maybe we can learn a lot about history and other civilizations which were before us. So that's intriguing me as well.
What keeps you going? Why are you still like running a business with employees? I mean, I know it from my firsthand experience. It's not always fun. I mean, managing people, having the responsibility, etc. So, can you talk about your entrepreneurial experience, the difficult times, or do you enjoy managing people, for example? And how do you envision your own future?
Well, I'm CVO right now, so I don't have an official managing position anymore.
Ah, nice.
So I fired myself as a CEO a few years ago, and a year ago I went on a world travel with my family, and I spent with my family a year away from our company, and I just returned 2 months ago. Um, and during the trip, I experienced that I wanted to do more than just being on trip. And I learned again, okay, my intellectual curiosity is getting awake again. And I also realized that I wasn't ready with Mr. Green yet, and I wanted to implement and execute again.
Hmm.
So I'm back on the horse again, and I'm with completely new energy and new ideas. And I think it's going to be a fascinating time the next 12 to 24 months. So I'm really excited that I'm in the mud again, and not on the sideline. So of course I had my difficulties. I know I'm actually pretty good manager, but it's not the thing I'm the best at. So I'm always looking at, okay, where am I the best at, and what is something which is perceived by others that I'm good at, but which I don't like anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm only going to do things where I'm very good at and I enjoy a lot as well. And my guiding principle is my curiosity. So where my curiosity brings me, I will do that. And
Absolutely. I'm I'm the same. Yeah.
yeah,
Hey, fantastic, fantastic. So how do you think about? Yeah, it just reminded me. I need to read this quickly. It reminded me of the man in the arena quote. You know that?
no,
It's by Theodore Roosevelt. It's so great, and it's all about the people being actually in the arena. So I think it's fitting that I read it. So the man
yeah,
in the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I love this quote. I have it. I hang it in my house, and it's really it's so easy to point the fingers at someone and to criticize them and to judge them, but actually it's all about the people who are in the arena, who fall, who have to get up again, and who actually do things. And I believe that you are such a person in the arena. Of course, Elon is completely in the arena. And I think if you are not in the arena yourself, then you don't have to write to judge other people who are. And I think it's such a great quote. And actually, I think, who was it? I think Kobe Bryant, or is it LeBron James? I think LeBron James writes either one of. I think LeBron James before every basketball game, he takes a new pair of shoes and he writes on it with a sharpie the man in the arena, and he reminds himself of this quote, and I really love it. And there is this best-selling author Brene Brown, fantastic personal development coach. She wrote really
yeah, I know
great
her.
books.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And she's also using this quote as one of the main guiding principles of her work. And yeah, I just thought it was fitting. So I really yeah love to see that you are back in the arena.
yeah. Well, thank you very much. This is spot on. Exactly. This is exactly what I missed in my time that I was that I fired myself, because I thought that that was the thing I wanted the most. That I could build a company without the company needing me, but I didn't think of myself. I thought I needed freedom. I thought freedom was the thing I wanted the most. And after 6 months of freedom, I thought, okay. And I was in the dust a lot. Those 6 months I went to Africa. Uh, I was happy to see some concrete or some grass, but no, it really fits my situation at this moment. I want to be back in the arena again, and I think time has come as well, because we are ready. The world is ready, and it's happening so fast now that it's going to be so it's like a roller coaster. It's going to be so exciting, and yeah, let's go.
Absolutely. So how does a regular day for you look like these days? Are you now operational again, or are you more like the yeah chief visionary and chief purpose officer? How you call yourself? How does a regular day look like these days for you?
Well, I just came back for trip, so I'm here for like 2 months, and it has been a roller coaster last 2 months. A lot of happening in our company. I'm still chief visionary officer, but I would call myself more chief entrepreneur right now. I have lots of ideas that I want to build. We started building as well, so we have to see what my exactly my new role is going to be. It was pretty strange because when I came back, there were like 20 new people. So people had to show me around again. So that was strange. It felt like I was a stranger in my own company. But now I'm there again. I'm sitting next to everybody. I'm just talking to a lot of people. I'm speaking about what I want to do within the company. What steps we should take as a company. We just updated our strategy a little bit. Um, Yesterday we had a big meeting with 40 bankers,
Hmm.
our financiers. That's a yearly meeting. So that was also very time consuming to present our new ideas. So yeah, I'm involved again. I'm back in the arena and just doing on the axis of the what I'm good at and what I'm like to do. And maybe in a few months I'm only doing interviews like this, because that's what we're gonna do. Uh, we're gonna build in public more. That's one of the pillars of the strategy. We're gonna expand it to Europe, and I'm gonna be the face of that, and I'm gonna be trying to connect with a lot of people, just being in connection. And I love talking to you because I feel we are in connection as well, and we have never met, but we could talk for hours, and that's also the intriguing part of being on X, that you meet all these like-minded people, and there are so many possibilities and so many enthusiasm, and um, also this feeling of being on the forefront of something very big, and
Yes.
still this kind of frustration that there are still a lot of people who don't see it, or they don't get it yet, or they don't want to get it. So it's a combination of frustration and hope, which is actually quite interesting energies to have around. Uh, um Yeah. So I also like your idea of men in the arena, because I've been working out a lot lately. Last 2 months, I've been working
Uh-huh.
out like 5 times a week,
Wow.
and I really feel like I have to pump iron, and become. And it's kind of a feeling of going through the pain,
Yes.
because after the pain is where you want to come. That's where the dragons are. That's where the dragons fly, and where the nice roses are. You have to go through that pain. You have to go through it to experience the beauty behind it.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
I'm
it's
I'm 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 on the same journey. I'm also pumping iron right now, and it's
okay.
great. It's really good. And I loved your quote. I love this sentence. I just had to write it down. The feeling of being at the forefront of something really big. I mean,
Yeah,
that could be the title of this whole discussion. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, for me, that's why I'm passionate about three topics actually. I'm passionate about the whole Elon Musk ecosystem. I'm passionate about Bitcoin in particularly, and I'm passionate about psychedelics. So these are really all three are exactly about this feeling about being at the forefront of something really big. And if we put all of this together with AI, etc., I think it's exactly it feels like something is brewing. It feels like something is happening. It's like I mentioned it after one of my Pharma ceremonies. I felt like it has this rebel energy. It's also the group, the study, the clinical group I was part of. It just felt like the original Macintosh team, like building
yeah,
the original Macintosh, the 100 crazy people building the first Macintosh, or the 100 crazy people building the first iPhone. I mean, that's always how it was built. And yeah, it's a fantastic energy. Maybe last question. We already have been going 2.5 hours. Last question. Yeah, how do you think about your legacy? So let's assume all of this comes into fruition. You will own a fleet of 15,000 robo taxis. You have also invested into Tesla, etc. All of this will of course create a lot of resources for you personally. So how do you think about what to do with those resources in the future? How are you thinking about giving back? Maybe philanthropy. Maybe, I don't know. Do you want to inherit everything to your children, build a dynasty, or do you have other plans with your resources? Can you maybe share the bigger picture of your professional life?
yeah, great question. It's something that I discussed with my dad as well. Uh, he passed away last year,
Mm,
2 years ago, and it was also a quite interesting moment for me. I had a lot of pain, um, and I also second guessed myself. Why am I doing this? Did
mm,
I do this all for him? Was
exactly.
was that the reason? Did I want to show it to him?
Mm,
But we always had this discussion about our last name is Minderop, so we should do it for our last name. It's kind of being proud of being Minderop. Um, we have an entrepreneurial legacy as well, and his dad and his granddad, they weren't entrepreneurs, but they were medical people. So he wanted to bring back the entrepreneurial spirit into the family as well. So I think I'm infected by him. It's not my fault. I've become an entrepreneur. It's part of his legacy. Um, so I think for the love of my dad, I also want to bring this over to my sons. I got two sons as well, and I'm seeing they're 10 and 11 years old, and I'm seeing what they are doing, and I see that's a mirror of myself. They're doing stuff that I'm looking at, and I'm looking, wow, what the hell? Why are you doing this? And then I realize, oh, they're just copying me. They're just doing what I'm doing. So that's also, it's just paying it forward, just being in the arena, just doing it and being part of something I can do. And yeah, of course, it will bring me some fortune if this all happens and if this all works. But I think for me, the thrill is being the rebel and being the missionary and being the and taking the risks. That's what I am. That's what's me. And of course, you get the beautiful things as well with it. But I also learned on my trip last year. I don't need any fancy stuff. I just love to be in a tent in a 4x4, and I'm happy enough. If I'm nature, I can meditate. I'm happy. But yeah, of course, I have to think about if that happens, what am I going to do with it? But I think it's going to be, and that's in the spirit I talked with my dad as well. Is I want to raise people to become entrepreneurial. I want to help them achieve their dreams. I want them. I, I would love to become a kind of a teacher for them, like a master or something. Maybe I will I will be a master somewhere in the future, and I have my pupils. I just watched a YouTube this morning from Messi and Ronaldinho, and there was this young Messi. He was juggling with Ronaldinho when he was like 10 years old, and they had so much fun. And Ronaldinho was really helping him. And then you see afterwards how this master junior worked, and that's what where I'm in for. And I'm always looking for people within my company which who I can help, and I can help them think bigger and think bigger than themselves and becoming entrepreneurs. And we had a lot of people working with us who became entrepreneurs, and I'm very proud of them. And they're still very proud of being one of our families. So yeah, it's going to be somewhere in that region, helping other entrepreneurs. I'll help invest in other companies. Um, so something like that. Yeah.
Wow, perfect vision to end this. I can totally see you becoming the teacher, the coach, the mentor. Absolutely, I think you're on the right on the right path
Thank you.
towards that. Hey, Florian, it's been fantastic. 2.5 hours. I would say it's a good spot to end this here for this first round. I'm sure we will connect in the future. We will stay connected on X, and hopefully we will do a round 2 in the future. It has been absolutely fantastic. Do you have some last words to say? Something we haven't discussed yet?
Well, it was very nice to meet you. I was already looking forward to this meeting, but it really exceeded my expectations. I loved our derail into other areas, and I would love to meet you in person sometime.
Absolutely.
And I will come visit you in Switzerland when I'm going there. And well, thank you very much for inviting me and for me to tell my story. And hopefully we'll meet and do a second interview as well.
Absolutely. And yeah, as we discussed, if anyone here listening is interested in joining this mission of MisterGreen, reach out to Florian. He's totally open for franchise models or corporations of any kind, partnerships of any kind. So just as a reminder, I will of course put his X profile in the description below and all of the links, so you will have everything in one place. And with that, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and we'll see each other in the next